Hi, Kanchana. Welcome to Resolve.
Hi, Sandeep. I currently lead solutions for all banking clients globally for a large organization. Um, I've been working for the last 20 years of my life. I started my career when I was just immediately after college and done multiple roles within the ITES industry, and this is what I'm currently doing.
So, you said right after college. So, could you take us or give us a brief on your educational background?
I did my schooling from Bishop Cotton Girls School. I did my college in Jyotinivas. Did BCom, as a part of my graduation, and then I was campus recruited into this organization. Um, I had, aspirations of doing my masters initially, and then moving forward, and after my masters, look at a professional journey. But life circumstances, family circumstances, it paved the way for me to start my career or start working a lot sooner than I wanted. But no regrets at all. I think that's what has made me the person I am today, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that I got at that particular time. So what I did was I started working and I did my MBA or my PGDBM through distance learning from Symbiosis Distance Learning Center. I did my and once I was done with that, I think that's my education background for now. Yeah.
You mentioned you've been working for 20 years now. Can you help us understand how your professional growth has been?
I've actually been I think I've been fortunate, to get the kind of opportunities that I did and to get it at the time that I got them. So I started my career taking calls for a bank. Um, Night shift. I had an extremely supportive family that allowed me to go out and do what I needed to do without I mean I'm talking about 2004, where all of this was a little more conservative in that sense, but I think my family was extremely supportive. Started doing that very early on in my career. I got the opportunity to um, transition work, be based out of a different center or a different city for some time. I did that. I basically jumped at every opportunity that came by. And, in at that particular time in the industry, if you did well, it was a growing industry. The whole ES industry at that particular time was booming. So opportunities opened up, and I was able to take those decisions. I was able to take those plunges when when it came at me, and that really paved my way to where I am today. So I've been fortunate. So I did that. Did that for about 6 years. Then I got an opportunity with another company to move completely out of my domain and do something which was absolutely different. So I moved into another organization, did recruitment for them for about 5 years. And then my current organizations called me back and said, why don't you join back into the domain side of on domain, the business side of things. And I moved back there, and yeah, I've been there for the last 10 years now. Grown within the ranks again, kept taking on additional responsibilities, started leading larger teams, and now I head that particular department. So I think I've been fortunate from a professional standpoint. I've had the right set of opportunities that came to me. I've taken those opportunities head on. I've had great support system, from work. I've worked with some very good people, and yeah, that's what has paid me to be where I am today.
So, the first job you mentioned was in the early 2000s,
Yes,
working the night shift.
yes,
You're a woman. There must have been a lot of concerns regarding security, and working night usually is
yeah.
something that none of us enjoy. How did you navigate these challenges?
You
And was there any pressure from home considering you'll have to work at night
No,
also?
not at all. In fact, I've never been a morning person. So the night shift worked perfectly for me. I wake up late, get to work and then, finish and come back. So I've always been a night person. Even, during my school and college time, I used to study through the night and sleep through the day. So it didn't really disrupt my circadian rhythm at that particular point in time. What also happened was, my mother fell sick, at that particular time. What the night shift helped me do was I was there with her through the day, and I left home at 5 o'clock in the evening. So I was able to help out at home, with my father, being there. So they didn't have to deal with all the household chores on their own. So I was there through the day with them, and then I would go for my night shift, come back home, get home around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, sleep till about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm there at home. So actually, it worked out perfectly well. The other thing, like I mentioned earlier, I think my parents were like my rock. My father was always very particular that I have a career. My mother was very particular that I needed to be financially independent, do not depend on anyone else. And I think that's a mantra that I followed till today. Um, that really motivated me. Of course, there was pressure. There were people saying, what is this? It's a night shift. Is it safe? Is it secure? But organizations at that time were also very, very equipped to ensure safety for women. When we went, if I was the last drop and I was a woman, there would be a woman security guard in the cab with me that would drop me till home. The cab would wait till I get home, and there's someone there to pick me up. So either my father or my mother would be outside waiting for me when I come in at that time, and they would ensure that I'm back there. There was zero concerns about security because the companies at that particular time ensured that we had doorstep pickup and doorstep drop. And within the company, it's a large enough campus, and you have security at every given point. So security was nowhere a concern. And I think the night shift helped me navigate life at that particular time in my life. So that helped.
So the second question is, so you said after 6 years in the first organization, you've transitioned to a completely different role. Could you take us through that?
So that was interesting. Okay, so what happened was, this was my first job. I'd been there for 6 years. I kept growing. Um, I was getting all the right opportunity, and then this opportunity came knocking. Um, it was it was operations at the end of the day, not in financial services but in recruitment. Domain was different, but the basics of operations remain the same. I mean, you're doing exactly what, you're managing people, you're managing teams, you're managing people's careers. That remained the same. When I went in there, I was supposed to do recruitment ops, but I had a longer notice period. So by the time I went there, they needed someone there urgently. So that role was given to somebody else, and I was put into mainstream sourcing. And I had never done recruitment in my life before. Um, it was challenging. Recruitment, I've always believed, is one of the most difficult and the most thankless jobs out there, because you're navigating through so much. You're enabling people to come into the organization. You need to manage candidate experience, you need to manage stakeholder experience, you need to do everything, a lot of learning. And it was extreme, and I was put into it with absolutely zero experience and support. But you're young, you have it in you to work hard, you have it in you to put in that additional effort at every given time. And I had a right set of support from offices, from the company as well, who help me learn that particular business and excel in it. Learning process. And the other good thing was, I think all of us were learning. So it was a team that was created for this. So I had a team that I recruited, all from different walks of life. All of us learned together and all of us worked. So yeah, it was, first few months was challenging, long hours, trying to build credibility, trying to let people know that you are the right fit and the right choice for that job. Overwork yourself, try to be more visible. But I think once you get that out of the way, and once people know that your intent is right, I think it works its way. That's what worked for me.
So in the first and the second job, what's been common is working with people.
Yes.
How is it easy working with people?
Oh yeah, for me, I think I excel in people related roles. I don't do well as a, how do I put it? As an individual contributor, it's great. But I think where I excel is when I have a lot of people that I collaborate with. I think I'm in a position to bring the best out of people. I think that's a skill that I've learned over time from really great bosses that I've had in the past as well. I think working with people, I think you bring in a lot of collective value to what you're doing. When you do, for me, I feel when you're doing an individualistic role, it's just one point of view that you're focused on. But when you have a group of individuals coming together, there is so much more, like there's so much more that you can bring into one. So the collective knowledge that all of them bring together is what I think makes a product or a service more impactful. So you're understanding different perspectives and you're bringing that all into one core offering. That, I think, you can't take that away. The human effect that a process or a product has is not something that you can. I see great value to it. So I think that has been great.
So you said working with people was a skill that you've acquired over time.
So let me go back to a little bit of my personality, right? As a child, and till I was in school, maybe a part of college, I was an introvert. I have I would keep to myself, go out with a few friends. I'm not someone, and even today, I'm not out there on social media. I'm not somebody who's very, um, vocal about what's happening in my life. I've someone who's always kept to myself. What changed is some of the people that I've worked with, watching them and learning has really helped me be the way that I am. I have probably, so from school or college, I was not one of those leader type of people, right? I was never a prefect, I was never a class leader. I was always one of those very average students, um, who worked hard, studied really hard to get, a decent percentage in my school and colleges. So when I first had to lead a team, I would say I have there was one person who was my first boss. I learned a lot from her. So when I saw her dealing with people, when I saw her dealing with her team in the most humane way, understanding that they are all their own individual persons, they have their own individual personalities. Some of them are good at something. How do you extract the best out of each person and still be very humane in the way that you are? I learned a lot from her. I'm still thankful to that one boss of mine. We go back 20 years. She was my first supervisor. I owe a lot to her. I learned through that. And like I said, I've always been fortunate. I've worked with the greatest of people. And what I've realized is you grow when you make careers for people. You grow when you lead your way, or when you actually grow your people, right? I mean, that's the fundamental of leadership. That's what I've learned. That is from a leadership aspect. The second thing is, most of the we are human beings are social animals at the end of the day, right? And when you connect with stakeholders, not just your team, with stakeholders outside, when you connect with them well and you understand their perspective, things fall in place. So it's just about that, and you learn it, over time, talking to people, dealing with people. There are difficult conversations that you have, but how do you have those difficult conversations? By ensuring that you're being civil about that conversation, right? So I think that, yeah, over time, watching people is what I've developed.
So something interesting you touched upon, gratitude towards that first supervisor. What I have heard from a lot of individuals is an organization is just an organization. You just go there, do your job, and get out. In your, from your perspective, how important is it for an individual to be grateful for where they are in life in terms of the company that they're working for?
Oh, I think I owe it all to my two organizations that I've worked with. I am the person I am today because of the institutions that I've passed out of, the people that I have, my teachers who have taught me grace in the way that I, conduct myself today, the organizations that I've worked with, the learnings that I've got. So, for example, my first organization taught me everything, from, of course, you learn, business, how do you write a letter, how do you, all of that in school. But actually dealing with that in real life is what my first organization taught me. So, when I went to my second organization, they actually said, so I had actually gone for a specific level for an interview. They upped my level when they gave me the offer, because the amount of work and the complexity of work that I'd handled in the first organization was was equivalent to what another person does. I mean, a person at a higher level does today. So um, I feel I owe it all to them. There's a lot of personal learning that I have developed through, working with them, and also through what I've been learning over time and what I've been reading over time. Uh, but I mean, I wouldn't. My personal opinion is every organization is what you make out of it. There are organizations that have inbuilt toxicity. There are organizations that are difficult to navigate. Like I said, I've been fortunate. I've worked in great organizations that actually keep the employee in the front, and then everything else behind. So I've got all the support that I need from that, and I think, yeah, I've had a lot of learning, both personally and professionally.
So if there's no toxicity, are there any challenges that you face on the work front on a
See,
day?
these are choices, right? See, by challenges, sometimes the roles that we do require us to work long hours. Um, that can be a challenge sometimes when you're trying to navigate life and you're trying to navigate, your personal side of things, also on your health. And sometimes you just don't want to do those long hours, but that's a choice. At the end of the day, the role that you do defines the kind of hours that you keep. So if you're in a role that requires you to put in that extra at some parts in during some parts of your life or during certain seasons, again, that's a choice that you make in terms of the role. There are roles that do not require this. Um, you could opt to do those roles. But yeah, here I have faced challenges where I've had long runs, where I've worked like 14, 17 hours a day. When you're working on a large deal, you put in that sort of effort. That kind of takes a toll on your health, sometimes. That takes a toll on your mental well-being also, right? I mean, because you're constantly at it, you need a break, you need to just unwind, do nothing for some time. um, but yeah, I have faced those, and it's taken a lot of internalizing to figure out how much should I push myself. It's taken a lot of also work to ensure that you have a larger support team that works with you, so you're not taking on a lot more. The art of delegation comes in place, and act in efficiently delegating work. So I think that has helped. But yeah, I mean, there have been times that I've been quite overworked, in that sense.
Okay. And again, considering you work long hours some of the times, how do you find that work life balance?
um, See, when it was so earlier, uh, work life balance for me meant actually just socializing or having time to watch TV, or just do things that interest me. Today in my life, work life balance means something different. For me, work life balance also means giving that time to my family, which also involves my 2-year-old toddler. um, this is a lot more difficult because at that time it's mostly individualistic, right? It's just me that I'm talking about. But right now it is more about ensuring that I'm not an absentee parent. I have a I have a strong support system. I have a family that supports me, very well. So if I have to travel on work or if I have to do a long hour, I have my in-laws who support me completely. They're there to take care of my child. I have I call them my entourage. I have my women who help me, my babysitter who's there to take care of my child when I'm not there. But luckily for me, I have the opportunity to work from home. So when I work from home, I'm still around. I can come out every 1 hour, just be with my child for 5 minutes and then head back. I go into office a couple of times a week, but the fact that I'm there with her for a little longer time, I think that helps me as well. So again, it's the flexibility that I get from my organization and the support that I get from my family and my help that I have, I think has really helped me.